Coach, you talked about you're too deep and the youth and you're too deep. Obviously, you guys were active in the portal. A lot of those guys were out there today. Just some thoughts on the spring that those guys had and how do you think they did today, the transfer guys?
Well, one, I think the biggest thing is they're fitting in with their teammates, building culture in the offseason. In my opinion, there's nothing more important than that. And sometimes you bring in new people and you gotta be careful, right? Especially with a young team, you gotta bring in the right guys, and that I feel really good about. From the DBs that we brought in, the offensive linemen, the running back, the wideout. You didn't get to see too much of Ryan today, which was on purpose, but very pleased. I mean, you're gonna have a bunch of those guys starting and being main contributors, but most importantly, that they fit in well with the team, and I like the mindset of the guys and the way they've gelled with our current players.
Hey, Coach, I know you were talking about you guys were throwing the ball up, trying to get some plays. Is your offense more for short passing, quick passes game, or if it's not, then how concerned are you about the deep ball today?
I'm not concerned at all. I mean, we didn't show anything. We didn't want to put anything on tape today. I mean, what are teams going to study when they turn us on? What are they going to watch old NFL film? So for us to go out there and put stuff on tape to give our first couple opponents a chance to watch it, we threw 4 verticals today and just threw the ball up. There's no scheme behind that. We played 3 deep and we played man. So what are we going to be on offense? We'll have to stay tuned and find out once we kick the ball off.
Your 4th camp now. What is your biggest takeaway from the completion of your spring practice?
The depth and the competition up front. I mean, that's, I think, the key to, I think that's a really good question, but I think that's ultimately what it's always going to come down to. You got to have the bodies up front. You have to have the competition up front. You need to have the depth up front because you have to be able to run the ball and you have to be able to stop the run. So that's where, last year I felt good after the spring with who we had, but not with the depth because we were new, right? You lost 4 guys to the NFL, right? 1 got drafted. Then you came in with these 4 new starters plus Mahogany. Then Mahogany goes down. Then in the second game, your right tackle, Kevin, goes down. Then our left guard tears his labrum. So now those guys were new. The guys behind him had never played. So now here you are in this spring where you got a guy who was a freshman All-American in year 2 playing center. Trapillo's back from a whole year of experience. Mahogany, he didn't play today, but he's back as the right guard. And then today when I looked out at the end and I saw Jackson Ness and Dwayne Alec and Otto and some of those guys, they started for us most of the season. So it's guys who played. And then you look up front on the D-line. You have to have depth on the D-line. And like Neto, for example, and Donovan. I mean, Donovan led the ACC in sacks as a sophomore. He's 12 pounds heavier and he's a different player. Sheeta's back. Sheeta got hurt. Sheeta tore his labrum after the first game last year, which people forget about. So now you have Sheeta back at the other end, then you have Neto, then you have Edwin. You have guys that have started to play. They're still young, but at least they have the experience. Jeremiah Franklin, a true freshman, we just threw him in last year. He looks like a different player because he knows what to expect now. He's still a sophomore, right? But we got to develop these guys, and when they got the experience that they got, and now they go through another spring and they go through another training camp, they're going to be better players. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're getting older. And that's the thing is you got to get old and develop. Especially with so many teams having these COVID guys, we're getting there. And even up front in the